So, impromptu video. I did not plan on filming anything today, but I had to get on here because I was utterly disgusted at what I saw. I'm getting so much on my timeline about Aretha Franklin's funeral. A lot of it's funny, and I think that's fine. Like, haha, I expected there to be funny moments. I mean, at a black funeral, it wouldn't be a black funeral if there weren't funny moments, and that's all good. But what I saw, this clip of Ariana Grande and this pastor, was deeply disturbing.
I've got to apologize because I have to brush up. My 28-year-old daughter tells me, "Dad, you are old at 60." When I saw Ariana Grande on the program, I thought that was a new something at Taco Bell. Girl, let me give you all your respect. Did y'all enjoy this icon? She's an icon herself. Come on, make
Pastors up there after Ariana Grande's performance, giving a little closing speech or whatever. And the first thing that came to my eyes as I was watching this video is the fact that he is touching her. To me, there's no reason for him to be touching her. Absolutely none. Zero. He does not know her, to my knowledge. He even said that he didn't know her. He didn't know who she was. That's kind of his whole joke. He was like, oh, I thought they were talking about something new at Taco Bell, which I didn't find funny for other reasons, but that's a whole separate video. So he's making a joke about how he doesn't know her. He doesn't know who she is, and he is touching her, which I found extremely inappropriate. But what really disturbed me was where he was touching her. He was touching her in her breast area. He kind of had his hand wrapped around her and was touching on her breast, and he was pressing down on her breast with his fingers.
I've got to apologize because
Now, I was at first like, I hope I am not watching what I am watching. I hope that I am like, this is a mirage. Like, this is a hallucination. Like, I am not seeing what I'm seeing. But when he makes his horrible, uncouth, completely unfunny joke about her name being similar to something on a Taco Bell menu, she laughs and bends down, and he takes that opportunity to full on grab her breast.
there's a new something at Taco Bell. Girl, let me. There's a new something at Taco Bell.
And then after grabbing her breast full on, he continues to press down on her breast with his fingers.
Give you all your respect. Did y'all enjoy this icon? She's an icon herself. Come on, make. Did y'all enjoy this icon? She's an icon herself. Come on,
She's trying to, like, you can tell she's trying to like pull away, create some distance, while also not making it obvious and also not making a scene at the funeral. But he is just continuing to pull her in, continuing to touch her. And this behavior is shameful for any person, shameful for any man, shameful for any person against another, but it is especially shameful for a pastor, someone who is wearing the cloth, literally standing in the pulpit and wearing his pastoral clothing, to be doing this. This is, I can't even think of the words, y'all, to describe how angry I am when I saw this. And you know what? Ariana Grande is probably not going to say anything about this because it's the Me Too era. Nobody wants to get caught up, especially what happened with, Rose McGowan and the other lady, and all these allegations, and how now it's kind of turning back on the people who've made allegations and all the stuff that's going on. I'm sure she does not want to get in the middle of all that. I'm sure she doesn't want to get in the middle of the racial tensions that are going on right now. Nobody wants to get in the middle of that whole thing. So I can see why she just may not say anything about it. She has an album she's trying to promote. She's trying to put that on the forefront, and she doesn't want any scandal to overtake what she's trying to do in her career. I don't blame her at all. But I'm going to speak on it. I'm going to speak on it as a Black Christian woman and say that what I saw in that pulpit was completely and absolutely disgusting, completely uncalled for. And this man needs to apologize not only to Ariana Grande, he needs to apologize to her husband. husband. I think she's married now. Apologize to his wife. Apologize to his congregation. Apologize to the people there and the Aretha Franklin's family. I mean, it was completely uncalled for. Now we're talking about all this Catholic abuse scandal stuff. We're talking about all this stuff with like the priests abusing kids, and that is something that needs to be talked about. But currently I'm researching the other aspect of it, which is the abuse of priests, of other adults, using their position as priests to push themselves on other adults. And we as Black Christians know that this has gone on in the Black church for many years as well. No, it's not all churches, but yes, there are many churches when pastors use their position to have sexual relationships with their congregants. And we all know that they're not real relationships, because the imbalance of power there is so strong that often people are being manipulated in those situations. Now, I'm not going to say it's all situations. I'm sure there are some in which it is consensual and those people fall in love and all that stuff, or fall in love, but you know what I mean. And so it just reminds me of all the work that we have to do to call this behavior out. And I think we're so quick to call out other people, to be able to say, oh, well, it's because of this or it's because of that, and call out other people and congregations and other religions and other churches. We're so quick to call them out, but we don't clean our side of the street. I need Christians to stand up and say, no, this was wrong and this pastor was wrong. Now, I know, because I know how this works, I know I'm going to get some comments about her dress, about how she was inappropriately dressed and she shouldn't have been dressing like that at church. And yes, I will agree that her dress is not typical of that setting. You can look at how Jennifer Hudson dressed. You can look at how the other performers dress. They clearly have more experience with the Black church and know the dress code of the Black church. But I don't care if she came in there in a paper bag. There is simply no justification for what this pastor did. And if you want to go to the Bible, let's go to the Bible. Let's find biblical support for the fact that a woman's dress absolves a man of God, or any man for that matter, of his responsibility to behave in a sexually moral way. And so let's just say that Ariana Grande did go to this funeral with the intent to entice men, with the intent to try to get these pastors to hit on her and to try to seduce people. Let's just say that was her intent, even though I don't think it is, but let's just say it was. Let's just say she dressed like that purposely in order to try to seduce men. So starting with chapter 7, verse 2, obey my commands and live. Guard my instructions as you guard your own eyes. Verse 5, let them protect you from an affair with an immoral woman, from listening to the flattery of a promiscuous woman. Skipping over, because it goes through the chapter about how this woman will try to entice you to her home, will try to say, my husband's out of town, come to my house, come lay with me, I have my house all ready for you. How she'll try to entice you to try to get you to have an affair with her. And at the end of the chapter, the writer of the proverb says, listen to me, my sons, and pay attention to my words. Don't let your heart stray away toward her. Don't wander down her wayward path, for she has been the ruin of many. Many men have been her victims. Her house is the road to the grave. Her bedroom is the den of death. And so what that's saying is that the man should not go down her path. Does it say that the man should go to her house and try to convince her to live righteously? No. Does it say the man should go closer to her and try to give her a hug? No. Does it say the man should try to talk to her and try to see why she's doing things the way she is? No. It says that the man should not go down her path. It says the man should avert his gaze. The man should guard his own eyes. It's saying the man should be responsible for his own behavior. If you go and look at the story of Joseph, when he is seduced by Pharaoh's wife, what does he do? He runs away. He doesn't stay there and say, oh, let me try to figure out why she's doing this. Let me try to hug her. Let me try to get closer. No, he runs away. We are told to flee from sexual immorality. So let's just say that Ariana Grande did have the intention in her mind and in her heart to seduce men and try to pull them in. Well, it would be upon these men that know the word of God, these men that are supposedly righteous and men of God, to keep their distance from her, to avert their gaze, to make sure that they are still acting in a sexually moral manner. But this man of God does not do this. He pulls closer. He does not adjust his position of his hand. He continues to try to feel on her breast even after she tries to move away from him, and he just does not exhibit the behavior the Bible says she should exhibit. And this is not me judging him and saying, oh, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you're such a bad person, because we all do things at a time or another that are wrong or that are sexually immoral, but we have to call it out. We have to hold leadership responsible. He is held to a higher standard. And it's not enough to say, well, that's no big deal. You know, I've done that all the time, or my boyfriend did that. That's how we met. Okay, you know what? I don't think that's appropriate for anybody to do that. But ultimately, someone who's a pastor, who's a leader of a church, is going to be held to a higher standard than a lay person. Just like Bill Clinton, he's getting a lot of flack or a lot of laughs right now for the way he was looking at Ariana Grande. And we can definitely talk about voyeurism and looking at women and men averting their gaze and all that stuff. That's a whole different conversation. But ultimately, because he is a leader or former leader, of course he's going to be held to a higher standard than just some regular person sitting in the crowd. Of course the leaders on stage are going to be held to a higher standard, of course, and particularly if you're putting yourself out as a moral authority, as a pastor, as a reverend, as a leader of people spiritually. Yes, you're going to be held to a higher standard. And in this case, you were caught red-handed on tape, sir. You were caught red-handed feeling on her breast on tape, and it's completely unacceptable. I might do another video on some of the funny stuff, because my friend did send me another clip that was really funny, and you know, there was a lot of funny stuff going on, but I had to make sure that I got on here and talked about this. So leave a comment below, let me know what you think. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.